When I reviewed the Oppo Find X8 Pro last month, this is what I said. Look, I have to say, this is easily one of the best camera smartphones available in India right now. Well, at least until the Vivo X200 Pro hits the scene. Well, it is here, ladies and gentlemen, the Vivo X200 Pro. If last year's X100 Pro is anything to go by, then this could be the camera phone to get going forward in 2025. This time around, however, Oppo is already waiting on the battlefield with its supremely capable Find X8 Pro. Both smartphones are quite similar in many aspects, but what makes them special is that they both offer sophisticated cameras and powerful chipsets for under 1 lakh rupees. In fact, the X200 Pro is 5,000 rupees cheaper than the Find X8 Pro. So, the burning question is, which phone has the better camera system? Also, even today, many people live under the illusion that a camera phone means an iPhone. So, we're also throwing in the iPhone 16 Pro into the mix. I'll mainly compare the Vivo and Oppo cameras since they are both Android phones and switching between operating systems can be challenging. However, I will include some iPhone camera samples towards the end just for fun. And oh, this has been an exhausting video to produce. So, please hit that subscribe button to keep all of us motivated. The X200 Pro no longer has the 1-inch type camera sensor that its predecessor flaunted. Instead, it uses a Sony Litia 818 sensor which is slightly smaller. However, it does introduce a massive new 200 megapixel telephoto camera sensor. The Oppo is no slouch either. Not only is its camera system properly high-end, but it also includes an additional telephoto camera with 6x optical zoom. The main cameras on both phones capture a lot of detail and offer great dynamic range. But notice the strong difference in colors. Oppo produces muted colors with a warm tint, while the Vivo, even in Zeiss natural mode, tends to saturate things. Low light photos definitely go in Vivo's favor thanks to its superior detail retention. Daytime videos turn out excellent on both phones, but I did find Oppo's footage slightly more stable. However, things flip again in Vivo's favor in low light. The ultra-wide cameras are also quite good on both smartphones. While I found Vivo's color processing better in ultra-wide photos, Oppo managed to retain more detail. That said, the Vivo is still a better phone for indoor or low-light ultra-wide shots. The X200 Pro also records more stable ultra-wide videos. Let's now shift focus on the telephoto cameras. The Find X8 Pro has two of these, whereas the X200 Pro has a single high-resolution unit. Both phones capture high-quality detailed zoom photos, but Vivo can fumble a bit in challenging scenarios. However, when it comes to portrait photos, the X200 Pro is unmatched with accurate skin tones and better edge detection. Also, even though the 6x telephoto camera on the Find X8 Pro has OIS, it can result in blurry photos if you are not steady enough. The Vivo takes better 135mm portrait photos despite relying on digital zoom. Telephoto cameras are theoretically also great for filming yourself while anchoring. So, how do these two phones perform? I had high expectations from Oppo's 6x unit, but its footage was rather soft. The 3x camera on the Oppo did very well, although I'd still prefer the Vivo's telephoto footage for better skin tones and more pronounced background blur. Both phones have 32 megapixel front cameras and both are incredibly mediocre. I just don't understand why Chinese brands totally ignore selfie cameras on high-end phones. However, you can shoot 4K 60fps footage with both if you wish, and the Vivo also lets you have fun with Zeiss effects even on the selfie camera. Finally, both phones have macro modes, but the X200 Pro uses its telephoto camera for macro photos. This gives it a massive advantage over the Find X8 Pro, which relies on its main sensor. So, no points for guessing. The Vivo X200 Pro is definitely the better camera system here. But what about the iPhone 16 Pro? Well, here is a select camera comparison in some challenging scenarios. Comparing all three side by side, you will see that while the iPhone produces more realistic colors, it simply cannot match the detail retained by other two. In a mix of natural and ambient light, both the Vivo and Oppo also extract more detail than the iPhone. The iPhone does, however, take better low light shots than the Find X8 Pro. In portrait photos, the iPhone tends to make skin tones overly warm, while the Oppo brightens everything up too much. So, the Vivo wins here with the best skin tones and edge detection. In a challenging video shot like this, you can see a crazy amount of flicker on the iPhone, whereas the Oppo is slow to focus. The telephoto anchoring test also goes to the Vivo since the iPhone's footage is a bit noisy. If you have made this far into this video, please let me know your own personal analysis of these three camera systems down in the comments. Okay, So now a quick rundown on the other important aspects of the Vivo X200 Pro and the Oppo Find X8 Pro. Aesthetically, both phones emphasize their camera prowess, which is quite evident from their massive camera islands. The X200 Pro is definitely the cooler looking phone. It is great for convincing your friends that you have a smartphone attached to a camera system. However, the Find X8 Pro has a more practical design. Its camera island is less obtrusive and it protrudes less than the Vivo's. Plus, you not only get an alert slider on the Find X8 Pro, but also a dedicated camera button. Funnily enough, this camera button is more intuitive to use than the one on the iPhone 16 Pro that inspired it. Still, camera islands this big will always end up smudged while gaming, so keep that in mind. Talking of gaming and overall performance, both phones are powered by MediaTek's latest and greatest Dimensity 9400 chipset. Both are also available only in fully loaded 16GB plus 512GB variants. The powerful Immortalis G925 GPU ensures that both phones handle games with ease. Both remain cool and comfortable during prolonged gaming sessions as well. Here's a quick rundown of their benchmark performance, where the X200 Pro mostly edged ahead. Software-wise, there is some bad news. Both phones come with bloatware. On the positive side, both run Android 15 out of the box. Personally, I prefer Vivo's FunTouch OS because it feels faster and better optimized, and it does not try to mimic iOS like Oppo's ColorOS does. On the flip side, Oppo has improved its software support this year, offering one extra OS update and one more year of security update compared to the Vivo. The X200 Pro and the Find X8 Pro are quite closely matched in terms of display specs and quality. Both have 6.78-inch AMOLED panels with flagship-grade hardware. Both displays are also quad micro-curved, which personally I am not a big fan of. Let's briefly touch on battery life. You get large silicon carbon batteries here. With almost similar specifications and battery capacities, you can easily expect a screen-on time of around 9 hours with mixed use on both these phones. However, if you use the cameras heavily, which technically you should on these camera-focused smartphones, then expect these battery life numbers to drop, especially while filming videos. Vivo and Oppo are also kind enough to include chargers with their flagships. 90 watts on the X200 Pro and 80 watts on the Find X8 Pro. Both phones take well under an hour to fully recharge. So, there you have it. The Vivo X200 Pro is brilliant by all means. The price to performance ratio it offers is truly unmatched, especially when you consider what Samsung and Apple charge for similarly spec'd flagships. The Find X8 Pro is also very capable in its own right, but the X200 Pro matches it in a few areas and surpasses it in a few others. Unless Samsung manages to do something incredible with its S25 Ultra, the Vivo X200 Pro is the flagship phone to buy moving forward in 2025, especially for its brilliant cameras.